Hey, what's up guys? It's X2Robbie2X here, and I am back with some Minecraft modding made easy. And today we're going to have a quick tutorial, I hope. And it's going to be on creating ores and creating pretty much any kind of generation on the surface, and also creating it in certain biomes. Now, you know how I always say you can look somewhere else and figure out what you need to do or whatever? We always find our code somewhere else in the Minecraft thing. Well, actually, I've gotten some requests about this, and the honest truth is the code is right here in the trees, because trees spawn on the surface and trees spawn in certain biomes. But I guess I didn't really go over this much, so I mean it would make sense that you guys would have questions about this, so I didn't explain this much. So I guess let's look at this. So, first of all, we need two things to make that happen. One, if you want to make it spawn on the surface, you need to make the I value, which in this case would be the Y coordinate, world.getHeightValue, X chord, Z chord. That's what we need. You know, that's pretty much it. So, let's go ahead and copy this. Now you can find this in world.java. There's a method called getHeightValue, and it pretty much gets the top layer of the trunk, or of whatever the position you're giving it. So let's go ahead and world.getHeightValue. We're going to just copy that into our Y coordinate, and this is actually, oh, alright, oopsies. You're going to actually want to position your Y coordinate after your Z coordinate, because first it needs to get a X coordinate, then a Z coordinate. Oopsies, what did I just do? Then a Z coordinate, and then when it has those two coordinates, it pinpoints a certain location, and then it figures out in that location on the coordinate grid what is the topmost, topmost block in that, on that coordinate grid. So, once we have this, right now we will have our blockium spawn on the surface, and I guess we can go ahead and check that out real quick. See if it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Now the numbers for, like we had before, for chunk and whatnot, those may be a little messed up, because what happens is that the, whoopsies, the nope, probably should have made a new world. This is not gonna work. Yeah, so the chunks will, at the beginning, they will have to fight with other blocks to get to the top. And since we set ours as like 30, as in 30 blocks per chunk, there's not gonna be 30 blocks on the top surface, simply because let's see, do we have any on the top surface? I'm gonna have to try to. Okay, we have some here, which is near the top. Do you have any that actually spawn on the top? Well, here we go. They spawn sort of on the top. Yeah, I'm not. I guess I don't know. I don't know why they're not spawning on the top, but they should be. So let's go into this grass area here. Like I said, they're not all going to spawn on the top, because they have to fight for the positions on the top. But they should be spawning. No, why aren't you spawning? No, come on. So we have some right here. I mean, they're spawning mostly near the top, which is what we wanted. And this is how grass would spawn right here. You know, if this thing has to fight grass and snow and other biomes to, there we go, it's on the top. This is sort of on the top. It's just, like I said, it's not all going to spawn on the top, because it has to fight grass and other blocks that are usually on top, like trees, even trees, grass and stuff like that. It has to fight those for the top position. Now, if we go ahead and I guess if we increase the number, that should boost the not the rarity, but the I guess, yeah, it would make it less rare. So let's go ahead and I forgot which number. I'm pretty sure it's this number. So how about if we boost this up to like 500? This might crash the game. I'm not sure. I think it was that number that crashed the game. And let's see. Let's see if this works. I mean, I don't personally know. So I probably should have tried this beforehand, but let's... Yep, that's the one that crashes our game. Alright, so we're going to need to make this back to 35, and this, let's try to make this like 80. So the loop goes through 80 times, and we're going to forget about that. Yes, save that. Or that's eventually going to give us an error and close, but we'll just open another. There we go. Let's try this. Oh, I already saw it. It gave us an error. What was the error that we got? Oh, it's giving us a lot of errors. Whew. Let's try this. Alright, so what about this landscape? Is there... There's... Oh, alright, I guess, yeah, that worked. Now you can see that it's all on the surface. And what if we went down one? See, like if you go down one, oh well, there it goes. But it's mostly on the surface, just like grass would be, and it's hanging around the surface, pretty much what you wanted. I was not expecting anything of this magnitude, but there we go. That's a perfect example of things spawning on the surface. You gotta, when you're testing stuff, you just gotta ramp it up a bit, and it'll show up more. Alright, so that's that. And let's go out here, close this. So let's look at our biomes now. The biomes are the same exact thing as they are for the trees. So if we just go ahead and copy your tree code and place it right before the for loop, like this. Let's if we go ahead, we need to rename this because it needs a different name, because you can't have two of the same variables in the same method. So for every biome, just make it biome 2. And let's see, what we want to do is I'll sort of explain here. So the first line here creates the biome. So this just creates the biome, and pretty much like a generic biome. Now here we can delete this line because this deals with the tree, so we can go ahead and get rid of the tree. This, however, is an if statement, and it's pretty much checks like if the biome is an instance of, since this is like a, think of this as like a generic blank biome, and pretty much checks like if it's an instance of plains. So if it's a plains biome, or this is an or sign, or if it's a forest biome, or if it's a hills biome, or if it's a desert biome, or if it's a swamp biome or a taiga biome, then what we need to do, make sure to do this, is right after the if statement, put another set of brackets around that and the generation code for our blockium block. So basically what it does is creates a generic biome, then checks if that generic biome is either one of these biomes. You can add or delete any biomes you want, and then inside of the if statement, it pretty much like, if this is true, if any of these are true, if the generic biome or the biome we are in right now in game, you could say, if any of those are either of these biomes, then it goes through this for loop right here, which let's put this down to like 30 again, and it goes back through this for loop and pretty much generates whatever we have here. So since we already have it set height, get height value, so since it only generates at the top now, and let's just say let's generate this only in the desert. So we're gonna go ahead and just delete every single other one, every single other biome, but the desert one. So like this. There we go. We can actually get rid of these last brackets. Parentheses. So basically what this does is, since we have this tree only spawning, I don't know where we have it spawning, pretty much everywhere, but it only spawns on sand, so it's not going to spawn everywhere in every biome. But for ores, completely different than trees, so it checks if the biome is a desert, it will spawn in the biome, and the rarity of 30, or like it will loop 30 times, so we'll try to put in 30 blocks in that chunk. So let's actually make this 50, so it's a little more common. It's going to place it at the top of the world, but only if it's in the desert. So let's go ahead and check this out. Pretty sure desert is a pretty good. Nope, how do I keep clicking multiplayer? Creative desert. I don't know if this still works in 1.1, but generating a level. Come on. Okay, well this doesn't really spawn you near the desert. Oh, yes it does. So here we go. Here's a desert. I don't know if it's an actual desert, if it's just... Okay, it's an actual desert. Alright. Well, I don't know if it's just an actual desert or it's just like a patch of... it looks like just a patch of sand. I don't think it's just classified as an actual desert. But I don't know. Do we have any blockium here? Let me check. Oh no. What is going on? I don't see any blockium. The sand might have generated, like, the blocks are really weird generating. Okay, so we have some blockium, and it's sort of at the top. I mean, like right here. Okay, oh, no, that's not. Is that blockium? Nope, it's just stone. I think I might need to ramp up the numbers again to make this show. Let's play around with the numbers. Let's make this 100. So yeah, the blocks are kind of weird in that different blocks kind of compete, because you can say that there's a certain number of dirt in a chunk, but it's not always going to be the same number of dirt in a chunk, and they kind of compete against each other to spawn. That's why all the terrains are random and have random amounts of blocks, random amounts of stone, and random amounts of dirt and grass and whatever. So let's hope this worked. Oh no. Why you no work? I think it's just a biome, I don't know. But that's pretty much like how you do it. I think the desert is kind of weird because, like, they made the biomes a lot bigger, and I don't know if this classifies as an actual desert or just like a patch of sand or like some beach or whatever. Because apparently, like, biomes, I don't know. Wait, what is this? What is this? I guess this, I don't know, is this desert? Is this part of the desert? That's really weird. I don't know, let's go check out here. I don't know, is this still part of the desert? Because, okay, I'm gonna go check somewhere where I know that it's not desert. If I can find some blockium, that means our generation code has worked. So we have a beach right here. But alright, so we have a pretty huge mountains here. I don't see any blockium in the sides. So that means it's probably not in here, since we made it pretty common. And that kind of means that it only spawns in desert. But I guess the blocking bounds of the desert are kind of oddly established. But yeah, I don't see any blockium in here. So that means it doesn't spawn here, it only spawns in a desert. So I guess that sort of worked. But yeah, that's how you do it. The numbers, I'm not really good with those number approximations. So just play around with the numbers, play around with the rarity, and make sure to set it high enough so your blocks always win when competing with other blocks. If you want to make them really common. So yeah, this video is running kind of long. I thought it was going to be a short one. So yeah, make sure to leave your likes and comments down below. And like I said, you had this code all along, and it's just pretty much the same thing as a tree. It's just not the tree, I guess. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. And if you're wondering, yes, I do have a new mic. So that's that. I don't know if you guys were wondering that, but I do have a new mic. I might sound a little clearer, might sound a little better for modding tutorials. I don't know, but I do have a new mic. And like I said, again, thanks for watching. And this was, yeah, whatever. So see you.